everybody. Okay, so I think I'm live. Sadie. So let's give it just a second, see who jumps on. Make sure I'm live and good to go. Okay, looks like we're good to go. Okay, let me start by saying that I am so nervous. I am shaking like a leaf, and that is so out of character for me. I do not get nervous ever. And so to be nervous right now is not a comfortable feeling for me. I don't like it. Hi guys, hi. So as you saw in the title, hi everybody. As you saw in the title, we're gonna talk about when we have new products drop, when we have limited editions drop, we're gonna talk about how to create appealing content that is going to be eye-catching for your network, meaning your friends, your family, your potential customers. And we are going to talk about how to make people fall in love with you so that when you do talk about those things, they are going to be open to listening and looking and coming into your bubble to see what you have to offer. So, all right. Who all is expecting snow this weekend? We are expecting 7 inches in my town. So I think this is too bright. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay. So let me know if you're watching live. Tell me if you're expecting snow and where you're watching from. And if you're watching the replay, just type replay. Oh, Casey, that sounds really crazy. Okay, I have got lots of notes. This is totally the biggest platform I've ever trained on. And so I didn't want to go like squirrel and forget what I was talking about. So I'm watching you guys' comments. I'm gonna have to move them to the side. So I will be touching base on my notes. And if you guys see me looking at them, that's why, okay? So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Lindsay Kopp. I live in Kingfisher, Oklahoma. I'm a Ruby Crown Princess, and I joined SeneGence in July 2016. I started because I bought some lipstick, some lip scents from a friend with some birthday money. I fell in love with it, signed up. The rest is history. There's no reason to even go. We all know how it works. So it's been about 2.5 years. I absolutely love this job. I call it a job. I call it my career. It's not a side gig. It's not a side hustle for me. It's a full-time thing. So I am also a mama of 4. I am 37 years old. And I think that's all I have to say about me. So my background... excuse me, my background is in accounting, and I actually never ever even have done anything in sales in my life. Never. I'm not really qualified, I would say. I'm absolutely not qualified, but I feel like God can use anybody, and so here we are. If you feel like you're out of your league, ever, like I feel right now, I am truly trembling. Just keep pressing in. Like I said, God can use anybody, and he will put you on the platform that you deserve. So somebody today is gonna wanna know what I have to say, because that's the way it works, all in the right timing. So let me start by saying perfection doesn't propel you to success. You have to fail your way forward. Okay. You don't know what you're capable of in the beginning, so as Joni says, be boring. Do the boring things. Do the boring stuff that nobody else wants to do, because you can't get to an expert level if you're not willing to be a beginner. So no matter what your experience level is, my hope is that you'll have some takeaways from this training that have not only encouraged you to get started, but that you can implement into your daily business, your daily marketing. So if you guys have your notebooks, if you have a pen, you might want to take some notes. You might not. I'm a note taker, so that's kind of how I roll. All right, So let's get started with one of the most important tips I've got. So if you have products that you're trying to sell, are you creating a need for those products, or are you just showing people your products? Because there's a big difference there. And if you're creating a need, you're going to tell them why they need your products. You're going to give them product knowledge. So let's think about somebody that has never seen a Synergence product. They don't know what it is. Well, we as distributors, we've heard about it, we've seen before and afters. We know what they're about and what they're doing. But these customers, they don't know. They don't have a clue what we have and what it does and stuff like that. So if you're using product knowledge, you're showing them a value. You're creating a value, and you're not just posting a graphic or sharing a corporate post and expecting people to know its benefits. Just create a need. So let's use brightening multivitamin treatment, for example. We know all of the stuff that's in it. We know how amazing it is for our skin. And if we just put a picture out one day and we're like, oh, hey, this is a new stuff. It's amazing, whatever. People are like, okay, cool. Well, that's not ever going to get somebody to step in and want what you have. So if you teach them what it does, what the ingredients are, and show them some before and afters, especially your own, you're going to build their trust and they're going to want to use what you are offering. So let's talk about creating urgency with your verbiage. Reduce anxiety and use a scarcity type mentality. So if you've got limited quantities, or create a stock urgency. So let's say a new product drops and you jump online and you order 10 of them. Or let's say that's not something you do. Let's say you take pre-orders. So you don't want to come on, Facebook or Instagram and say, oh, hey, I have 10 of these ready for you guys right now. Well, Susie Q over here is not going to want what you have right at that moment because there's no urgency, there's no scarcity. She doesn't see where she would need to jump in right then and get what you have. So if the value isn't created by adding more, quite often less is more. So I have 3 of these left, ladies. 3. They're going to go quick. So if you want one, jump on and let me know. So you see what I'm talking about? Okay. Always mention our guarantee because that reduces anxiety. So if someone is looking at what you have to offer and you're creating an urgency and they're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I want to buy it. And you're like, hey girl, we have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. That's going to reduce her anxiety and make her feel more at peace with jumping on and purchasing your product. So imply urgency with words like now, act now, today, things like that. That way you're nudging them. So let's talk about scrolling Facebook. Think about the things that you've seen that catch your eye. What makes you stop and read or look? Because a lot of times we're just in the scroll hole and we're just going, and it doesn't, we're just kind of in the mode. But what do you see? Put yourself in someone else's shoes. What do you see that makes you stop and be like, okay, this is interesting. I'm going to read it. So you're going to read that. You need like attention grabbing emojis. You want eye-catching graphics, and you want to keep it simple, not too long, not too wordy, and not too busy. Because truthfully, we're quick. We don't want to stop, and we don't want to read a paragraph that's this long that has no emojis, no paragraphs. It's just one block. Nobody has time for that. So let's jump into some numbers. Facebook has 2.27 billion active users as of the third quarter of 2018. 2.27 billion active users. Instagram has 1 billion monthly active users as of the third quarter of 2018. So those 2 platforms alone are monumental. Okay, so the next point that I really want to hit on is stories. but I'm gonna touch it and then I'm gonna step away for a minute. So stories, Facebook has 300 million daily active story users, and Instagram has 400 million daily active story users. So if you think about those numbers, 300 million, 400 million, and they're using stories, that's a big deal. So if Facebook or Instagram create a feature, you want to use it. Always use it, because they push those features. Facebook and Instagram will push those features and the algorithms will boost if you're using them. So before I jump into stories on these platforms, let me give you an example. So, you know, on Facebook, you have colorful backgrounds. That's it's probably been around about a year now. So when that came out, if you were implementing that into your posting, that Facebook was bumping those posts. So if you have something to say, even if it's once a day and you're making a post, use that colored background. It doesn't matter which one, but it's telling Facebook, hey, I'm using your new feature, so bump my post. So Facebook is going to make that more visible to other people. All right, so that's that. Let's discuss the rule of 7. And this is really important because a lot of times we as distributors, something comes out, something drops, a limited edition or a new product or even something old, and we want to try and push that to our customers. We usually do it one time. And it's like, oh, okay, here you go. And then you never hear about it again. But the rule of 7, so I looked this up on Google and I wanted it to be accurate. So the rule of 7 is one of the oldest concepts in marketing. Although it is old, it is not outdated. It simply says that the prospective buyer should hear or see a marketing message at least 7 times before they buy it from you. Don't miss this though. The important thing in the rule of 7 is not the number. It's the message. Okay, so repetition is important because it builds trust. So be repetitive and be consistent. So that doesn't mean, 7 posts in a row about shadow sense. It just means that you're not going to post it one time and expect everyone to jump in and want your product. You have to teach them why they need it. You need to show them that this will benefit their makeup application. They're not going to come home at the end of the day with creases and smudges. You're going to build their trust as they see you more and more confident about that one product. So don't ever just do it one time. Remember the rule of 7 in everything that you do. Okay, for example, the price may be too high. So the first time you post something, the price just may be too high for someone. And so that has nothing to do with the price of the product. It simply means you haven't convinced them of the value. Great. If there's value, they will find a way. Convince them with continuous and repetitive effort. So again, it's a job. You have to put in the time and effort to be consistent and build these relationships and earn the trust of your friends and family. Okay. One reason people aren't buying your products is because they don't know you. So this is the most important part of my entire training that I want to talk about, and I'm really excited about it because I think at the end of the day, ultimately, this is the most important thing for any network marketer. I think building relationship and trust and integrity is so very important. So let's talk about 5 tips to make people fall in love with you. Number 1, you have to love yourself, okay? To love yourself is to have self-respect, a positive attitude, and a positive self-image. Unconditional self-acceptance, but not arrogance or being conceited or thinking that you're better than everyone else. It simply means that you love yourself. You trust yourself. When you say something, you mean it. You don't have a bunch of drama going on because you are your business. So everything that you're putting out there on Facebook, that is what people are seeing. When people see that stuff, they attach it to you and they remember those things. So you have to love yourself before anyone else can love you. Okay, number 2, be yourself. Comparison does not serve you. Write that down or say it louder for the people in the back. Comparison does not serve you. It is a thief of joy. We've all heard it. And we've also heard that cliche saying, don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 25. Everybody's journey is different. So just be yourself. Your people, your friends, your family, your potential customers, they love you. So just do you, boo. Be yourself. Okay, number 3, be consistent. Stick and stay, and stay long enough to get good at it. I learned that from Dawn Christian. She said one day, if you're just coming in and you're like, okay, balls to the wall, is that crude? I don't know. That's probably crude. I don't know. 100%. Give it 110. That's what we'll say. And you're just like, I'm doing this. I'm going to be so great at this. And you're confident and you're excited. And you try it for a month or two and it's just not, you're not somebody else's chapter 25. And you think like, okay, well, this is not for me. No, you have to stay long enough to get good at it. Nobody starts out as a pro. No one likes a flake and no one likes a jumper, okay? So have integrity. And this is where the rule of 7 comes in. Talk to your people. This is point number 4. Talk to your people. These are your friends, your family, your coworkers, your friends from church, your children's parents, people that you know in your community. Talk to them like you're sitting in front of your girlfriends and be real. So if you've got a new product, you're not going to be like, oh my gosh, we have a new Shadow Sense color. I really hope that you guys will try it because I love it. Girl, no. Get on there like you are talking to your best friend, like, girl, you have got to see this Plum Shadow Sense. It is everything, honey, okay? It's purple. It's for fall, winter. It makes green eyes pop. Like, girl, you need it. See the difference? Talk to your people like you're talking to your friends, or like you would be sitting in front of your friend telling her why she needs that product, because those people are watching and they do see what you're saying. And the last point, the last tip is be confident. This is simply certainty. You know you've got the best products. We all know that, right? We know we have the best stuff, period. End of story. Be a product of that amazing product and show passion. Share it on your personal page with confidence, not embarrassment of your career or the company you're with or that you're associated with, or, yeah, it's my personal page. I don't want to bother anybody. Girl, bye. These are your friends. These are your family. If they don't know what you do and what you're passionate about, how are they going to trust you? Because you're going to come in one day and be like, yeah, I'm doing really good with this company. I built a team. I'm selling all this stuff. And they're going to be like, really? No. Share with your friends and family. Be passionate and confident in what you do. Love what you do. Okay, those are your top 5 tips. Now, once people fall in love with you, you will increase your revenue by increasing your customer base, the volume per transaction, upsell, and the frequency of orders you take. Because once you start doing those tips and people start falling in love with you and trusting you, they're going to want to order from you. They're going to trust your upsell. They're going to be like, okay, well, if she says I need this, then I need it. So let's go back to that clever rule of 7. You know how when you go to the Buckle and you're trying on jeans? So you're in there and you're like, you go in and they get you right at the door and they're like, oh, hey girl, what do you need? You tell them. They get you in a dressing room and they bring you jean after jean after jean after jean. And you're like, Susan, like, calm down. She's starting to bring you shirts now. Then she's bringing you the undershirt that goes under the shirt. Then she's bringing you necklaces and boots. And it's like, calm down. But you know what happens? You're sitting in that dressing room and you're looking at that shirt and you're like, oh, dang, this is pretty cute. I better try this on. She brings another pair of jeans and you're like, oh, hey girl, that's pretty cute, right? So think about that mentality. And when I tell you, keep bringing them until they tell you to stop. Keep bringing it until they tell you to stop. And what I mean by when they tell you to stop, either they'll unfollow you, they'll unfriend you. They might be like, calm down, girl. Okay, bye. Bless and release. This is my business. This is my job. I love it. I'm not bothered, can't be bothered by your opinion of how I earn an income. Okay? So like I said, just keep bringing them until they say stop. Okay. So you want to promote a new product or a limited edition. Use stories. Now this is actually the main point of what my topic was supposed to be about, but I had to get that other stuff out of the way first because I think that it's most important. Because if I just came on here and tell you, use stories, and you're like, okay, cool, and you start using stories, nobody's going to trust you. Nobody's going to want to see what you have to say. It's about building relationships with people. So one of the coolest features of stories is CTA, or call to action. So the more you can get your people to engage with your content, the higher the algorithms will boost. So get your viewers involved by asking them to click a link, take a screenshot and share, participate in a poll, ask a questions. They can slide your percentage scale over. They can, whatever it takes to tell your Facebook and Instagram that your content is important and that people are engaging with it. So if you're putting on there a poll or something and people are clicking it and people are answering your questions, or you're calling them to action and they're responding, you're telling Facebook and Instagram that your stuff is important. And they're like, okay, this girl has something to say, so your algorithm will boost. Okay, so let's talk about stories. I use Instagram stories first because they're better. They have more features. But the cool thing about Instagram stories is at the bottom, when you click to share it to your story, you can share it to your Facebook story and your Instagram story. So you're working smarter, not harder. You're not going and doing a story for both platforms, and you're using the bigger, better platform first. So let me see. Instagram has more features. They're significantly better. Your views are higher and different than those engaging with normal posts. So for instance, if I'm posting a story on Instagram, I'll see average like 300-ish views, which to some people that's probably like, that's nothing. But to me, that's a big deal. So again, my chapter 1 is not, like chapter 25 of somebody else with 7,000 views. I'm super excited with those 300 views. I'm like, let's go, girl. Cool. 300 views. So, but if I post a picture on my Instagram, I might get, like 30, 50, 70 likes. So that tells me that people are looking at my stories that may not be seeing my posts, or they may just not want to like it. They may not want to engage with it. They may not want to comment on it. But on stories, the cool thing is you can see who's viewing your stuff. So that helps as well. Now, let me see where I'm at. Sorry. Reach. Okay, so Facebook. Okay, so let's talk about Facebook. You cannot add GIFs, and you cannot take advantage of the space above and below a photo. So let's say that you add, or let's say you open up Facebook stories and you go to put a photo in there, it's gonna crop it in a square. And you can't type anything above or below that. But in Instagram, you can make the photo all the way like the whole size of the screen, or you can squash it down, and then you have all of that extra area to type and put graphics and little, GIFs or stickers or whatever is you are making this, so make it you. So with Instagram, you have, and these, I'll tell you the ones that will engage your customers first. So location, so people can see, like if they're at a location, they can see people that have posted in that location and look at their story. Tagging, so you can tag people and anyone that's tagged can see it. You have polls, so you can ask your audience questions and they can, yes, no, maybe black, white, whatever. You can also use the sliding scale. So like, oh, I just got this new shirt. How cute is this shirt? Look at these earrings. Do you love my earrings? Yes or no? And they can slide the little heart all the way. And it's just, it's a way to get your audience engaged. Okay, then you have questions where you can put a little box and they can ask you questions and you can answer. And the cool thing about questions is people come back because they want to see what your answer was to their question. And then the very most important one, obviously it's Instagram, is hashtags. So if you're hashtagging something in a story, then anyone can see that. They don't have to be your friend. It's just, that's how it works. So that's awesome. And then you've got time, temperature. You can add music to the stories. You have stickers and of course gifts. So you're going to make it kind of come to life for people. Okay. So there are so many options for content. You can list groups for graphic and then put your creative touch on it. So there are so many. If you're just like, I don't even know what to put on my story. What do I do, Lindsay? I don't know what to put. Okay, so there are lots of groups. Cinegraphics. I don't know if I'm supposed to list these. I'm assuming it's fine. But there's people that have created all kinds of amazing graphics that you can go and snag and put in your story and then add your touch to it. And then another really cool thing is Patreon. So there's two different people that I use that have Patreon accounts. So Patreon just means it's someone that's creating art and people are subscribing to it. So it's a subscription service and they create the stuff for you. So if you truly have no creative bone in your body and you just don't want to do it, but you still want to utilize that platform, then you can just jump on to Patreon and get those things. You have two different options. You can pay for it where you're getting, yes, definitely, Ciara and Ryan Halls, I think. I hope that's right. Ryan Halls. He just got started and he's got some really amazing stuff. It's Kelsey Hall's husband. And he's creating all kinds of stories, graphics, just really good stuff that you can take and you pay for it. So it's yours to use. Okay, so you can let them do the work for you. And then let's just touch back on the rule of 7 one more time. When you're posting those stories, if you're just posting one a day, one graphic, one something, it's like, okay, cool. People that are clicking through. So let's think about some of our distributors that we know and follow, and they're really successful with that. They're usually not posting one thing. It's usually post after post after post in their story so that you can kind of follow it. So like, let's say you did a makeup look that day and you have, your selfie. And then the next you want to click over, then the very next slide is going to be the photo. And you might use a little arrow or a little GIF of, this is my Shadow Sense color and some little sparklies and whatever. And the very next one, you can talk about the Shadow Sense colors you used and why they work together. And then you might use a graphic that shows those 3 Shadow Sense colors together because some people have no idea how to put their colors together. So by that time, you've already shown them 3 times in a row what you have on your eyes. And so now they're kind of involved, they're invested, they're looking, they want to see, and you can just keep going. And I'm not saying you have to do that every day, but it's the rule of 7. And you keep them engaged by showing them, creating a need for what you have. So that is the end of my training. Does anybody have any questions about stories? Maybe you don't know how to use stories. I can walk you through that. I haven't been reading the comments, so if anybody's asked any questions, I'll go back in a minute and answer them. But I would be happy to help anybody create a story for the first time. It's really easy. It's really kind of like for dummies. I think anybody can do it. You just have to jump in there and try. So, okay, April said yes, please. So I'll just kind of walk through. Let's say you open Instagram and up in the top, I think it's a little plus with a circle or something. So you click on that and it's going to open a screen and it's like a camera. So it's looking at something or it's looking at you. And then you have an option to add a photo. So let's say you add a photo, you just click on it. It's going to bring up all your photos and you can click. Okay, Carrie, I'll tell you. You can click whatever photo you want. So then it's going to pop up there. Now, up in the top right corner of your phone screen, you'll see like a little square. It looks like a little piece of paper. Then you'll have a letter, which means you can put text on your photo. And you kind of just need to get in there and mess around with it. You need to figure out kind of how it works. And it's trial and error. You're going to have to, unless you have somebody that can sit with you next to you and teach you, you kind of have to mess around with it. So the little square that looks like a folded piece of paper, you click on that and there are stickers in there, gifts. So let's say, for instance, I'm talking about my holiday nails. Okay, so I have like red glitter gloss nails. So there's a search bar if I click on gifts and I can type glitter. And so every gift that is associated with glitter is gonna come up and I'm gonna get to pick it and it's gonna appear on my story and I'll get to manipulate it. So you can make it big or small by pinching. You can move it around on the screen. You can put it anywhere you want. And I will put my Instagram handle in maybe up at the top so that you guys can follow me and maybe you can see kind of what I'm talking about. Nope, Lauren, there's no apps. Well, there may be, but I don't use an app. I just get in there and create it myself. You can make them so fun all on your own and it really doesn't take long and it's not hard. You just go in there and click on it. So I'm just gonna scroll down a little bit. Do we think separate Instagram accounts like business? Hope, I really don't know how to answer that. I will tell you, I had a business and a personal, and I felt like my business page became more spammy. And I just thought, they say if you have a business account, then you don't want it just to be about your products. You want it to be about you and your life and the things you like. Well, that's my personal one. So I just went ahead and walked away from my business one and brought everything into my personal, and I just sprinkle it in here and there, and it's more about me and things like that. So that's my advice on that. Alicia, you asked about a call to action. So call to action means that anything you do that invites your audience to engage with you. So let's say I post, a photo and I'm like, oh, I have a dinner or a date. Hey, Kim, I have a dinner or a date this weekend. Which dress should I wear? You're calling your audience to action. So they're going to start commenting because everybody has an opinion. They're going to start commenting and that's calling them to action. Or in stories, if you put a little poll or a percentage slider or whatever, that's calling them to action. And I will tell you one really cool thing about Instagram stories. If you use the poll, for instance, when our mascara came out, one of the very first things that I did is I posted a photo with, my regular mascara or whatever. And I said, do you love your current mascara? Yes or no? Okay, well, that seems pretty simple, right? Every single person that said no, because you can see it, every single person that said no, I messaged them and I was like, girl, let me tell you about our brand new mascara. Money back guarantee. It's amazing. It grows your lashes. Da, 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 da. And so they didn't even know that they were, that I was suckering them in. So it's things like that. That's what call to action means. So do you recommend making Instagram or Facebook public? Well, I will tell you both of mine are wide open public. I feel like if you have it hidden or private, you're not going to really be able to bring in new customers as easily. It's not as open and inviting. People can't search for you. They can't kind of, like peek through the bushes like, oh, do I want to follow her? Do I want to get engaged with her? But if they can see your stuff, then they're like, oh yeah, she's really a dope chick. I want to be around her. So then they'll send you a friend request. So yeah, Lauren, I would say it is a lot of extra work running an extra page, but that's my advice on public and private. Of course, people have different reasons I'm just an open book. I always have been. I share everything, my kids, my church, my life, whatever. It's just all out there. I'm like, whatever. So Let me scroll down a little more. Any more questions, you guys? I know it's temporary, but not sure how to make it flow, Sarah. Sarah, if you're still watching, will you explain what you're asking? Not sure how to make it flow. I feel like it takes me forever. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Kirsten from Australia. What time is it where you're watching? Okay, so I'm not seeing any more questions. I think we've probably, okay, Lauren, I'll follow you. My Instagram is ABC Mommy of 4, the number 4. ABC Mommy of 4. What happens when the stories go away? So your stories last 24 hours. And when they go away, they just go into your little archive, your story archive. So you can pull them back up or you can highlight them and they'll stick on your profile. But that's what happens. They just go in your little archive. So do I have a business page? No, I do not. I don't have a business page. I just use my personal. How do you get the right followers on Instagram? I've got random pages following me. Okay, so that's a really easy question. The right followers and engagement and getting yourself out there on Instagram is all about hashtags. That is the only way that people are going to, because there's, what did I say? Let me look back at my notes. There are 1 billion monthly active users on Instagram. So unless you're like this big baller that people are gonna like, you know, I don't know, like Russell Westbrook or something, people are not just actively searching out your account. But if you are using relevant hashtags to the industry that you're reaching out to, then you're going to have more people come in. And again, this is where your profile would want to be public, and they can see that like you have stuff they want to follow. Okay. How do you get the right followers? And one more thing about that, you don't want to use, this is a whole nother, like Instagram hashtags. I will tell you this, the sweet spot for Instagram hashtags is 17 hashtags. And I know that sounds crazy, but that is the sweet spot. And you don't want to use like Insta good or pick of the day, because there's millions and millions and millions of photos. You want to find hashtags that are relevant to what you're using or what you're promoting. Hey, Danielle. 6:40 a.m. Girl, that's crazy. Okay. Is there a way to edit your Instagram story before? No. Once you post it, you cannot edit it. Period. So my recommendation would be, if you've already posted it, you can delete it and it will go in your archive and you can just pull it back up and add to it, like save it, I think. Otherwise, you would have to recreate it. Blue, red, SeneGence, glitter, so on. Yeah, things like that. Or like, you know, beauty, long-lasting makeup, winter eye look or fall eye look or red lipstick, things like that. Sure, Lauren, 30 hashtag was perfect. I was taught 17. I obviously am not an expert, but we did learn that at one of the corporate trainings. And so that's what I have in my notes. I believe it was Pit Stop 2017. So yeah, it very well could have changed. So, okay guys, I think that's it. I think my time is up. If you have any questions, just comment and I'll reach out and answer them. And again, my Instagram handle is ABC Mommy of 4, the number 4, not spelled out. And I hope to see you guys on there, and I'll follow you back.